In the next few moments, you're going to watch me make $700 in under 15 minutes. If you want to see how that's done, then please stay tuned. The reason I'm recording this intro after the fact is, as you know, when you want to get in the trade and actually jump on the recording button and do all of those things at the same time, it doesn't always work out as perfectly as you want. So, first and foremost, let me apologize for a little bit of the quality of the actual recording. I use Zoom, it was a last minute thing. Decided to jump in and show you guys what to do. But this is Trade Recap Fridays, and I wanted to do this for our students. So wherever you are watching this, whether it's through the student portal on YouTube or wherever we post this, just know that this is some of the stuff that we teach. So students, before you actually watch this, what you're about to see is not on what we regularly trade. As you know that we've been doing forex, stocks, futures, whatever, and I've always been saying this, that what we teach works across everything. Any instrument you trade, it works there. So, in an effort to prove that today, I decided to choose a futures market, get in on one of my futures accounts, and decided to trade the NASDAQ or the MNQ, as some of you might know it. But I took it a step further. Since I've been on a mission to prove to you all that everything is fractal, I decided instead of trading off of a higher time frame that you and I have to sit through and wait for 30 minutes or 40 minutes for the actual trade to play out, I decided to execute on the seconds time frame. Yes, I said it on the seconds time frame. I executed on a 5 second time frame out of a 5 minute zone towards a 15 minute zone. But I used exactly the same principles that I've been teaching you guys all the time. So if you're looking at this, this is a trade from an external to an internal level, external level to an internal gap, and that's where I executed the trade. What I want you to follow, though, is follow the actual process. Don't get hung up on whether or not it's futures or forex. That doesn't matter. I traded EU this morning, did the same thing, right? What I wanted to show you is that really with just a little bit of time, such as 15 minutes, you could make around about $700. My overall risk was around about $200, going for about 680, but I ended up with about $750. So please, if you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will do more of these kind of videos. If you're watching on TikTok, please join our channel as well. Wherever you're watching this, whether it's through our student portal, please make sure that you guys engage with it. If you'd like to see more of this, please let me know as well. But pay attention to every step, every explanation. I'm sure you guys are going to find some value in this live trade execution. It's been Coach Chadwin, Mindset, Multiplication, and Management. Be blessed on purpose. Thank you, everybody. So I wanted to do something crazy today for today's trade recap. I hope you guys are seeing it as is now. If you can spot what's crazy about it, I wanted to prove to our students, because I've been trying to do this for a while now. I wanted to prove to them that the market is truly fractal. So what I went to go ahead and did was I entered in, as you can see right over here, on a seconds time frame, right? And this is a futures market. This is the MNQ that I'm trading. I trade both forex and futures. This is newly delved into futures. Truth be told, it's much of exactly the same thing that I'm doing. But I know Coach Brian, Coach Cindy has spoken about futures recently, so I wanted to showcase that as well, just to be holistic in all we do. And then also it speaks to the idea that what we do in one particular platform or one particular instrument for that matter is doable across them all. Now I have cut out all my personal kind of things over here, so you won't be able to see all of the bottoms and the sides. But what I want you to see though is the execution, right? The execution over here. And then once this is played out, I will take you to another chart and talk you through how this was actually done. Well, you know what? I can probably do it on here as well. So what we were looking at is we were looking at what price was doing on the hour, right? There's some previous trades there as well. What price was doing on the hourly was taking lows over there. And then I went down to a 15-minute, and I noticed that there's a 15-minute gap that price wants to trade towards. So you can trade out of a gap, but you can also trade towards a gap. This is something I've been teaching you guys as well. So how do we get there? Well, that's a 15-minute gap. I then wanted to look and see if there's any 5-minute support that gets me there. Now over here, price broke up and produced a 5-minute gap over there. Okay, but that's not all. I didn't want to get confirmation out of that 5-minute gap that we're going there. As I've told you guys many times before, that you could do this on the 1 minute, but the 1 minute isn't actually the correct time frame for this because they're too close to each other. So instead, I then went down to my 5 second. You can do it on a 15 second as well. I went down to my 5 and 15 second, and over here is where we first break. Let me show you the executions on here. Over here is where we first break the high that put in the low. Once we break that high that put in the low, I just want to keep the actual trade showing as well. Once we break that high, right, over there, that put in the low, we trade back into a gap, which then gives us a signal that price is wanting to trade higher. And once we trade higher from there, we produce another gap over there, and price trades into that gap. And that's where I took my execution on the second confirmation of that particular trend right there on that candle. Now, I could put my stop there, but that would just be being risky because this is the overall information, the overall formation that put in the low. So I then just went ahead and selected the entire area. Now, however, since prices moved that far away, I can go ahead and move my trade to break even. But before I do that, I wanted to show you guys what I was risking. $202 to make an overall of 672, which is that overall 15-minute high that we want to trade towards. So right now I can go ahead and move my trade to break even. That would mean I'm risk off completely. Cannot lose this trade at all. In fact, I'll put a $22 in profit because if we're coming back that far down, then likely I got this wrong. Okay, so now I'll zoom out for you. And I chose this as well, not because I want to teach you guys how to trade the second time frame, but more so I wanted to show you guys that everything is fractal across all time frames. And I wanted also a trade that actually plays out in a few minutes and doesn't keep us here for hours having to watch it. So that's the game plan over there, right? So whether this was Euro USD, NASDAQ, or whatever, doesn't matter. It's the same principle across the board. If you're trading stocks, whatever you're trading, it's the same principle across the board. So what we're going ahead and doing over here is we're executing off a seconds time frame within the exact same framework that we would do for our 15-1 or daily 1 hour 5 or any other time frame. We're executing off of that with the expectation that we're going to work and trade within the same sort of frameworks. Now, if this was a normal trade at these points over here, I'd be taking partials of the trade off. But since I am kind of confident we're going to that 15-minute gap, I'm going to allow this one to try and get there. If you were trading this, and by the way, why am I taking these small positions? This is 5 contracts with really a small stop. And why am I taking the small position? Because it's NFP day. And I don't really trade NFP day. So I decided, you know what? Let me take a smaller position within a smaller framework, just so that we can actually get the trade out to you guys. These trade recap Fridays. And so I wanted to provide value for you guys through this process. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself until this actual trade plays out. And then I will post this video for you guys shortly. It is Trade Recap Friday. And it's been Coach Chadwin. We are waiting for a 5-second trade to play out within its framework. So let's go ahead and see this play out. We should see sometimes at this point, before I go ahead and mute myself, sometimes right before you get to your target, and that's what's always wise to take off your trade before you hit your target, you'll get a deeper retracement halfway of the entire range up, and then price would then go ahead and shoot back up again. Other times you'll get really close. You'll go into a small bit of consolidation as we are now. And then as we get close to this level, we would shoot over there with some velocity. What I could do is I could manually decide to close this trade as we shoot into there by moving it off of there, right? Just in case we get some more. And once we go over that level. If we see extra momentum, I can hold the trade. If we see gaps holding, I can hold the trade. Otherwise, I can close the entire trade right there. As I always recommend, it's always better to close the entire trade. In fact, right over here is actually where you should be closing your trade, because when something is very obvious like that, over there on top, you can assume that a lot of other people are there as well, right? Are also seeing that level. And so sometimes what price will do is get really close to that and then, not hit it at all. Right now, we're still holding gaps. So I'm holding it. There you see, there you go. We've just hit the actual TP. I want to see it not break any gaps now. And I will continue to hold it as long as it doesn't break any gaps. Should it break any form of gaps at any given point, I will close this trade out. But then again, there you go. That's the trade, $200 risk to make $600 live before your eyes. Sorry, I could not show you the executions at that exact moment because I wasn't recording at that point. Let's take it up a little further and see if we can actually get that number now. There, that breaking of the gaps, I don't want to see that. So I'm going to put price right here and we will be out. There you go. Right? Entry, exit. 5 contracts, and we have made $755 off of that trade. And you've seen the management as well. Thank you, everybody. You guys be blessed on purpose. It's been Coach Chadwin.